Good afternoon, friends. Namaste. My name is Pankaj Bansal. Uh, I'm told that I have 6 minutes, so I'll make sure that I stick to the 6 minute time frame that have been given to me so that we are not bored and this cold winters become a little warm, that we all are managing our time well. And thank you to this lady who's helping me in conveying and helping. So thank you once again. NASSCOM, Debjani is not here, I guess. Debjani and I are board members at Karmiyogi Bharat, and my reason today to request that I have to leave sharp at 1 o'clock was this, that today we have that board meeting. I wear two hats, friends, and I want to highlight why I'm here out of those two hats. When NASSCOM Foundation said, can you come and talk on this subject, I wasn't very sure why they're calling me. I'm a person who comes from a technology background of PeopleStrong, or a fund that I run called Carrot Capital, which invests in jobs and few other areas. But I think the second hat that I wear is when I was called in by Prime Minister's office and they said, you joined this board called Karmiyogi Bharat, which is capacity building reforms for bureaucracy. It was a big, tall order. I think Abhishek today was here. I'm not sure if some of you heard him. So Abhishek is our CEO of Karmiyogi Bharat, and I joined that board. But that's also not the reason why Debjani or Vishal or whoever in NASSCOM Foundation reached out to me. I think the reason they reached out is I ran some small NGOs. And I started struggling when I got in and I said, what is the challenge with this NGO world? We are all talking of goodness. Why there is not enough collaboration? So I think Vishal, for some reason, called me and said, Pankaj, why don't you talk about it? So in next 5 minutes, I need your attention. I need your attention because I'm going to throw some numbers. I'm not an expert yet. I want to throw numbers just as someone who wants to do some goodness in technology and for the country. So think of India spending $10 billion every year on goodness, on charity, on donations, right? In US, this number is $500 billion. There's a 50x difference, right? So some people started saying when I was debating with my son that US is a rich country. The people are richer. I looked at the per capita. We are at around 3,000. They are at 75,000 USD. So 25 times difference. An average Indian per capita is 25 times more in US. But you know how much they spend per capita every year on donations? They spend $1,400. How much India spend? $7. So 200 times difference. Are you all with me? I hope I'm not losing you. Yeah? So we spend $7 a year per capita. They spend $1,400 a year. It's like a massive difference. But GDP difference is of course high, but not as high. So why is that? I started searching. Is it that rich people donate more? I don't think so. That's not the reason. Is it that there is a organized funding, well structured in US? Probably the answer is yes. I think there is a lot of donation that can come in India, but we are so unstructured. We are not that organized. In last 10 years, we have moved the needle massively, massively. And I thought that what are the ways which we can do it? So instead of cribbing and saying we are not doing this, this is bad, that is bad, how do we take this 10 billion to 100 billion is what I started thinking. And I looked at three vectors. And in the next about 3 minutes, I'm going to request you to give me your attention on the three vectors. And in case any of you can work on those three vectors, it'll help and do a lot for our country. Are you with me? Should I move ahead? Okay, wonderful. So the first vector I looked at it, we have to start reaching to $100 billion, which will still be very negligible. So US number is 2% of their GDP they are spending on donations. We are spending 0.02, right? It's really negligible. So if we reach 100 billion, first thing we have to pick up is fix this credibility issue. Have you seen that we don't donate because we think, wo chor hai. There is a scam there. I don't trust that. That's big. Their admin cost is high. We just don't trust. And my son, when he was leaving his Singapore Management University, and he said, I'm going to start a company which will focus on credibility. I said, are you sure? Who will give you money? He's sitting here, and he said, I'll call it ERA. I'll tell people there is a way to do. So I think the point I'm trying to say, we need Gartners and Moody's who will give credibility to this segment, to this whole goodness. Whichever way we are doing, we need to have established norm which will bring in transparency. That's my first sector, friends. And I'll encourage you and urge you. And I was so delighted when Vishal took me around and showed the kind of booths which were there and the support that NASSCOM Foundation giving. It's delightful. So that's my first vector. My second vector is around, there are a lot of people, like I meet school founders, they're 70 years. And the gentleman said, I know how to teach, but I don't know how to raise capital. He said, I have 500 kids. I have even land, piece of land. But I don't get money because I don't know how to raise capital. So is it important for us that we force the so-called domain experts who are doing good to tell them you have to raise capital? On the other side, there are people like me who I feel I can raise capital, but I cannot go and teach in a school. Are you with me? So I think my second vector I'm trying to say is, in India, we don't look at intermediaries in the nice way. Look at any corporation. They don't give CSR if you're an intermediary. You know what I mean to say? If I just say, okay, I'll raise 10 crores and I'll give it to 10 schools, they will say, we will not give you money. But if you're a school, we'll give you money. So I'm saying, why don't we increase the respect for intermediaries? Because they are good at what they know. These are like small financial institutions. So I'll give you an example. Like my foundation, UNU, is supporting 300 underprivileged kids, right? Small donations that we receive. CSR said, we'll not give you money because you are not an end school. So what we picked up, I said, okay, I took teachers of those underprivileged schools on our rolls. I said, okay, now you pay me because I'm taking care of teachers. My metric changed. Instead of number of students, I started saying how many students are being taught by these teachers, and I'll take care of them. So the point I'm trying to say is, friends, that intermediaries need more respect and innovative models so that they can help people who are working on grassroots. That's the second vector. And in interest of time, the third vector is I'm a great fan of what's happening in India in a digital public infrastructure space. India still have just 10 crore workers which are organized workers. Out of 140 crore population, just 10 crores are organized workforce, which many of us are sitting here. But we need more and more people to enter in the formal sector of India. We don't need, the cost of informality must go up. And as those people come into the formal sector, automatically the donations, the charity, the way to do goodness, the white money, the circulation of money will increase. So I think that's the third part. So we need to leverage the ecosystems of identification. We need to leverage the financial ecosystems, be it Aadhaar or UPI. When I meet Nandan Nilekani's team at TakeStep, I'm a great fan. I'm sure most of you know about them. But I think if we can leverage them more and make sure more and more number of people are becoming a part of formal economy, I think that will be a great thing. So friends, I repeat again, we have to reach at least 100 billion, if not more. And eventually when Amrit Mahakal ends after 25 years, probably out of the 35 trillion, India will be donating 1 trillion. Today that number is 10 billion. I have suggested 3 vectors. First vector, bring credibility, build more organizations which can become Moody's and Gartners of this industry to bring in credibility, like ERA I spoke about. Second, I have talked to you about how do we make sure that intermediaries gain more respect. And third and final, I spoke about digital public infrastructure through which we get more and more people in the mainstream. So thank you very much, friends. I stick to my time, and wonderful talking to you all. And thank you, Team NASCOM.
You stuck to your time so well that we have time for question and answers. That was such a dynamic and powerful address. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Bansal?
Thank you.
And I'm sure, we have questions in the audience. So who would like to go first?
So this, yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'm Aparna here. And I think you talked about the second vector, which is bringing respectability to the intermediaries. I would say all of us could leverage our brand value. Like you, I'm also an NGO owner, and unfortunately I had to shut down my school because of lack of funds, like you said. But now I use the same goodwill and the trust that I had amongst people to generate funds for smaller NGOs whom I started supporting during COVID times. So I think personal brand value goes a long way, and people whom, those who know you have been in the sector would trust you with funds. Even though I don't ask for funds, I'm doing a blankets drive, and happy to say I have received more than 2 lakh rupees without asking people to specifically fund. And then we have to provide evidence. So many people say that.
Yeah, ma'am, you're absolutely right. I got your question.
Yeah.
So I think brand and evidence, exactly. Yes. But there is a Hindi sher who said, "Badnaam honge to kya naam na hoga." So I think our industry is more badnaam than naam. So I think again, when you talk of evidence, that's my first vector, credibility.
Yes.
But if you say I am good, no one will trust. Please don't. I'm not referring to you.
Yes, fine.
People will trust when there is an agency which will say this is credible, and there is data there. Problem is we all run, but again, I'm telling you, when I meet those wonderful people like yourselves, teachers, masters, and they say, Pankaj, we can run 1,000 kids, but we There's a school in Balia called SSG. They have 600 kids. Average family income is 6,000 rupees a month. But they don't know how to raise. For last 2 years now, we have funded 150 kids. Because I know how to raise capital, but I don't know how to run the school. So intermediaries has to just improve that. So thank you, friends. I think I can continue, but I'll have to leave for my board meeting.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to request Nidhi to join us once. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this wonderful, wonderful session.
Thank you, friends. Thank you for your time. Wonderful speaking to you. Bye-bye.